Lowry did a number of portraits throughout his career. This is probably his most famous one, and this is also the subject he painted more than any other. This is his portrait of Anne, and Anne crops up in a number of Lowry's pictures, sometimes in the background. In one picture she's actually depicted as his mother. He always said that this was his favourite model, and a number of people have said that they were Anne and they were the subject. However, it's thought that really she's kind of an idealised portrait. So in other words, this face isn't one person's face, it's actually composed from lots of different bits from different people. So the eyes are from one person, the nose from another, and the mouth from somebody else. And in fact, if you go to measure somebody's face, if you measure how wide somebody's eye is, our faces are 5 eyes wide. So if we measure Anne, she's about 4 eyes wide. So he's obviously been quite stylised with this portrait here. But what I thought we'd do is we'd have a look at how you can draw your version of Anne, and we'll go through step by step how to put this portrait together. Okay, so to start to draw Anne, we're going to start with the biggest shape in the picture, which is going to be the oval of the head. So to get the oval in, we can either, if you hold your pencil quite loosely, so you're holding your pencil in the middle there, but if we just gently go around until eventually you'll find you'll get a nice oval shape there. The other way to do that is to think, okay, I'm going to start there and I will finish there. And if you use that heavy part of your hand to anchor your hand, you can push from your shoulder and go around pretty much in one to get an oval from there. Okay, so the next thing to get in here is the next biggest shape, which is going to be a shape for the neck. So the neck, although we're going to draw this in as a pair of lines, we're going to imagine that this neck is actually a cylindrical shape, like this. And coming off from that as well, we're going to have the shoulders. Now the shoulders are actually, if we measured this, the shoulders are going to be about 1.5 times the head. So the shoulders are going to come right off into the corners of the picture here and here. Okay, so the next thing to do is we're going to have a line in here. Now this line isn't actually going to be in our finished work, but it's for us, it's a guide for us. So this is going to be a line of symmetry that's going to run right through the middle here. Now this line of symmetry really helps us because faces are symmetrical. Not 100% symmetrical, but more symmetrical than they're not. So having a line of symmetry helps us balance both sides of the face. We're also going to split the face into thirds. These are just approximate thirds. So I'm going to have a line that's going to ever so slightly curve that will come along the top here. And from here, I'm going to have another line that will curve that way there. Okay, so now we've got those lines in place, we've got these guides in place. We're going to get in the feature that's going to help us most of all with this picture, and that feature is going to be the nose. So the tip of the nose is actually going to be where this line meets this centre line. So I'll put a curve in there, and then I can gently put the sides of the nose in here, and Anne has a very straight nose that runs straight up here, and then from there starts to curve out towards that top line, which is where the eyebrows are. And I'll do the same again on this side. Now, at either sides of the nose, we have the nostrils, which are a little bit higher up than the tip of the nose. So I'm going to start the nostril up here, and up there, and have the bottom bits of the nose joining in there and there. Now, one of the difficult things with noses is actually getting them to look three-dimensional. So I'm going to use my pencil to just put in some shade underneath the bottom of that nostril there, that one there, the tip of this nose here, and also very gently along the sides here. And this was the thing that Lowry used to love to do. Now, he did his portrait of Anne in oil paints, but he would have created pencil sketches first of all. And with his pencil sketches, he would use lines like this, which we call hatches, which is just another name for getting lines close together. If you have those lines closer together, it makes a darker area. Further apart makes it lighter. But I've got those hatches in there now, and I'm just going to smudge and blend those around there and around there. And one last little bit on the nose is the little bit just underneath the nose here, which is the philtrum. So I'll just get that little bit in there and add a little bit of shading to that. Okay, so moving on from the nose, if we get the eyes in, and the eyes are really important in this picture, but before we get the eyes in, we'll get the eyebrows in. So this line we have up here, we've followed the line of the nose right up here, but where we have this line, this is the line for the eyebrows. So I'm going to put an eyebrow in here, like this, which has curves in a little bit as we get towards the middle there. And same on this side. Actually, we can follow it more or less from that line there. That's going to come around there. Now, just below the eyebrows, we'll get in the shape for the eyes. Now, the eyes are really, it's a kind of an almond shape or kind of a rugby ball shape, and they're quite large, these eyes. So if I get a shape in over here, if I can just lightly sketch this in first of all. So we have this shape here. Now, I think one of the important things here is Lowry has made Anne's eyes a little bit larger than they should be, so it's important that we get them the right distance apart. So if I just measure that eye, come across to here, then I know my next one has got to start there. And if I measure that across again, it will have to end there. So I can just get that. Coming across there. One of the difficult things with eyes is to actually get the expression in them. So if I put in the centre of the eye now, if I just get a big circle in place here, and a circle in place here. Now that looks a little bit weird because we never really see anybody staring at us like this. So the top eyelid we need to make much heavier, and it's just going to take the top off that circle there. Because our top eyelid always covers part of our eye. Now, we want to get the pupil in the middle of the eye and have that nice and dark, but before we do, I'm going to put a little bit of a circle of light in the eye there, and then behind that, I'll put that circle in place there. And I'm shading that in again with hatches, but very dark now. So those hatches are very close together, and I'm using a lot more pressure. And I just want to get a really nice dark edge to Anne's eye here. And the same here. Okay. Now, with Anne's eyes as well, there's a lot of heavy makeup on here, so I'm going to make this top lid here much darker, because I think Lowry's trying to show Anne in the fashions that she would have had at the time. Although he painted this picture in the 1950s, this It's almost quite a classical, almost like an Egyptian look she has. So I just need to make those eyes and those eyebrows much darker. Also with the bottom of her eye, I'm going to make this darker too. And we'll add her eyelashes along the bottom there. Okay, now we need to get Anne's mouth in, but to measure where the mouth goes exactly, if we come back to this bottom section here, and if I just split this section in half, roughly in half like this, to work out the width of a mouth, if you look at somebody near to you, if you look at the middle of their eye, the middle of their pupil, and imagine a line coming down their face, that's where the average mouth is. Now, Anne's mouth is a little bit narrower, so I'm going to use this outer bit of her eye, or this inner bit of her eye, the bit that's nearest to her nose, this bit at the centre of the eye. So I'm going to imagine a line coming down there to there, and a line coming down there to there. And then from there, I can have a line coming straight across here. And then we can get her lips in. Now her lips kind of come into a shape like this. So the top lip, again, is very stylized and kind of dips in a little bit there, kind of to fill that shape from the philtrum before, and then comes over to here. And the bottom lip is just one big curve. Coming around here. Now, to show us that Anne's got quite glossy makeup on, what Lowry's done is he's left a little kind of rectangle of light here and a little edge at the bottom of her lip there. And I'm just going to lightly shade around these so that we can highlight those. Okay, just underneath these lips here, just go around that one. Just underneath these lips, we can have a little bit of a curve for the chin there. And I'll just have a little bit of shadow coming along here. I can just smudge and blend those bits around. And actually you'll find when you do this smudging that you can then start to draw with your finger. So I can actually add some bits in the sides here for the cheeks there and for the cheeks there. Okay, so we can get rid of some of our guidelines now because we won't need this centre line anymore. And we won't need this line. And we won't need these edges at the sides of the mouth anymore. And we can tidy up some of these other lines. So it's not really using the rubber to correct any mistakes, it's just using it to get rid of some of our guides, which what Lowry would have done, of course, with his oil paintings, is he would have just painted straight over those lines. Now, the next thing to do is to get the ears in. Now, the ears, we can't really see much of the ears without, we can just see the ear lobes. So if we just have a kind of an earlobe just below the nose there, if we kind of imagine an earlobe coming into there, and another one on this side here. And to get her hair in, if we just get a shape in, so the hair comes from behind her ear there and there, and it comes into a shape like this, that just about misses that eyebrow there, and comes up and round here, and over and around on this side, and we can fill that shape here so that the hair is actually coming off her head. And actually I've left that centre line there from before because that lines up with just where the parting in Anne's hair is, so that is going to come around there. Okay, and the parting line is just going to be that one there. Okay, now Anne's got really glossy hair. To get that glossy effect, you could use your pencil for that, but I'm actually going to use this graphite stick, which what this is really just the middle bit of the pencil but much bigger. So it just allows me to do stuff much more quickly. So I can get this glossy bit of a hair in here. And in here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to leave a little patch a little bit lighter here. And I'm going to leave a lighter patch on this side here. And then I can use my pencil to just darken up these areas. And I can darken up this area here. It's quite nice really digging in with your pencil to make these quite heavy dark marks. And you can also, again, smudge and blend those bits around there. And not forgetting those bits behind her ear there and there. And I can just make that line underneath the chin a lot stronger there. We can get rid of this guide coming through here now and get a little bit of shading underneath the chin. Not too dark though, because we don't want to look like it's a beard under here. And then the last thing really is to get her sweater on. Lowry always painted Anne with this sweater on. Sometimes it was very red, sometimes it was a blue sweater. But the important thing is that this isn't a straight line that goes across, it's a line that comes around here, like this. And also that it comes off the body like that. So it is something that she's wearing on her body, not as if it's actually her body. So now we can get rid of these guides here. And we can add a little bit of shading. Just to get the sense of this being quite a round garment that she's wearing. Okay, as a finishing touch with this, you might want to just use your pencil to get a little bit of shading into the top of her head there, where her brow is coming around there, and also a little bit more sides of her face with the cheekbones there. And finally, the thing that Lowry was always really good at doing was signing his work. So he would always sign his work L for Lawrence, S for Stephen, Lowry. So if you want to sign your work and you have initials, you could put your initials in. And also he would, not always, but most of the time he would put a date in as well. So you could put the year in when you've completed your piece of artwork.
We would love to see your L.S. Lowry inspired artwork. Why not enter the Copley Prize, the Lowry's annual drawing competition for primary school aged children? The winner's work will be displayed on the walls of the Lowry Gallery for a year. and your school will win an art workshop. For more information, visit thelowry.com/the Copley Prize.